Hello, this is Sebastian Griffin. I'm still stuck in Malaysia. There are a lot of problem happen in me personally that I would like to talk about. Because other than what I advocating, I believe there are also many problems surrounding myself and also my private life. My private life they should not be so private because it involve rape. I was being raped, I believe, or it's either being raped or my somebody stole my sperm and germinate into a womb of a woman that I do not know. Probably more than one woman. Now the problem here is that I believe the modus operandi of them, those girls, is that once they got my baby, they pass the baby to Ng Beng Kiat. Ng Beng Kiat is my caretaker. We used to live in Cheras, and the modus operandi is that the baby they put it under Ng Beng Kiat's care. And then what happened is that because I always visit Ng Beng Kiat, and I also build a relationship with those children, I took care of them on and off, not full time of course. I did not know they are my children or they are related to me at all. I call them little ancestor. They did not give me a name, so I do not know what happened. Now the problem here is that there seems like there are many intermediaries or there are many middlemen. I would call it a middleman between our relationship, and so far, uh, previously I know the eldest girls is called Teh He but now I know Teh He is definitely not mine. Teh He is my sister's daughter, which I have the longest relationship in terms of friendship with her. No sexual, non-sexual relationship, no sex at all. I treat her like my daughter, but she's turned out to be my niece. It's actually my sister's daughter. I believe so. I cannot confirm yet. I do not know, but because my mother is very secretive. My real mother, and even my real mother, I do not know her. I do not know her identity. Now I also have to state this very clear. I do not know myself related to Genting, and I do not know all these girls. Probably these girls know my real identity earlier than myself, and it is not because of money. It does not matter whether I got my inheritance or not. I will still definitely would not accept any girls that I do not know. Definitely, I cannot accept them. In fact, before this, I reported many times to Suhakam. But Suhakam is useless. Suhakam is actually a human right, sort of like a human right council in Malaysia, which they did not take any actions probably because I'm a male. I believe the motive is largely because of my inheritance or financial gains or whatever. Because anybody that know me, they know I'm fat. I'm fat. I do not appear to be handsome, and I do not appear to be very smart too. So there are so many characteristics that I do not think any normal human being or normal girls will go for me. That I have to be very candid. I have to be very honest. Any girls would not definitely would not fall. Even myself, I would not fall for a man like me, fat, bulky. I do not. I am not rich. I definitely not appear to be rich unless they know my real identity. Then probably they go after my inheritance. So that is a thing. Um, and but for me, to me myself, whether I'm rich or not, probably those girls are very rich too. Because they might also involve those from YTL. I'm not sure. I cannot be sure. And those are from Singapore, which probably related to Teh Ka Seng, and could be also very rich. But I will not accept. Now, to many Malaysians, their perception is as long as they are rich, it is almost like I would say almost entirely based on their financial background. But for me, romanticism is very important. I cannot accept somebody that I do not know. I definitely cannot accept stranger. But in Malaysia, it appeared to be like they only match one another based on financial compatibility, which is definitely not my style. And also for me, I have to also very honest to my audience is that I do not know any of these girls, including my sister. Of course, I saw my sister a few times, which is probably Teh He Xian real mother. Now, previously, I do not know Teh He Xian real mother is my sister. I thought she is this Ng Kin Luan. Ng Kin Luan is another girl. Now, the modus operandi of these rich people is that once they give birth, they will not take care of the children themselves. They will put it under somebody, a caretaker. Now, for my case is Ng Peng Kiat. Now, for He Xian, Teh He Xian case is a girl called Ng Kin Luan and Teh Kian Bun. Now, Teh Kian Bun is a very nasty person. I do not like her. I do not like him, and I do not like Ng Kin Luan too. Anyway, I have a very good relationship with Teh He Xian, which is my niece. So that is the first girl. The second girl is Teh Yu Tong. Teh Yu Tong came very much after, and I also did not know. I did not know she is my real daughter. Now, Teh Yu Tong could be my real daughter. I do not know. Alright, even until now, she is very close with me. But the same thing, I do not know Teh Yu Tong's mother real identity. I do not know her name. I can barely remember her face. I only saw her a few times in my entire life. So I cannot really remember her face. I definitely no idea what is her name. Zero idea at all. Do not know her name at all. And then there is a Carol Tok. Now Carol Tok's father is Datuk Sri Dr. Tok Min Kin. I do not know her family, and I do not know. I know he got one brother called Christopher Tok. Now none of these people are treating me well. They have been attacking me. This Datuk Sri Dr. Tok Min Kin has been attacking me despite his doctorate. He has been attacking me for I do not know for what reason. I do not know for what apparent reason. There's no apparent reason. He just attacked me without giving me any reason. Likewise for Christopher Tok. So I do not have a very good impression with them. The same applies to Carol Tok. Now I also cannot really remember her face, but I saw her. I have his. I used to have his Facebook Messenger. She did not add me as a friend. She did not add me as a friend. I also do not have her phone number. I do not have a phone number, and in fact, I don't think we ever talked. We never dating before. There's never dating. There's only one time. That is a few months ago. Not few months, actually few weeks ago. Happened in PWDC along the road before heading to PWDC. I saw her. Actually, I saw Joshua first. Joshua, and then she came. I think the whole thing was premeditated. It was being planned. Now the same thing applied to Joshua. I know Joshua very well. Joshua Kanesan Rubenda. He used to be my classmate, so I know him very well, and we were very close friends. But I do not know what is the reason for him to get close to me. Probably also because of business, also because of my parents. That's why he came close to me. Probably all of them know my parents before I know myself. Before I know my real identity. So this Joshua Kanesan Rubenda used to be my very close friend. But the problem is that I do not know his sister. Also totally zero idea about his sister. And there were time, I think, during COVID, probably in 2001 or 2002. I think it's 2001. That was 2020 or 2021. I received calls telling me to marry Joshua Kanesan Rubenda sister, which I have no idea at all. because I cannot marry somebody that I do not know. Of course, I do not agree. I cannot agree. And somehow, I think I was staying in a hotel called I think ABC or Easy Hotel. I think yeah, it's called Easy Hotel in KL Central, where I was being approached to marry Joshua's sister. Definitely, I cannot accept. I cannot accept his sister because I do not know her at all. I know him, I know Joshua, but not his sister. And I do not know how many sisters he got, but I definitely cannot marry. But after that, there's no news. I was being beaten up many times, being attacked for not marry his sister. Now for Joshua case, I know Joshua mother, I know Joshua. I do not know Joshua father. I never met Joshua father before. Sister, I can barely remember. The only time I think I saw her when she was adult was in PWDC. Actually before the this Putra Sunway, before the route going to heading toward the Putra Sunway, the PWTC LRT, PWTC LRT station. So that is the time that I saw her. Even until now, I can barely remember her face. So that was Teh He Sien, my sister daughter, and then Teh Yu Tong. I do not know. I do not know her mother at all. Totally can do not know her name, whatever. And I probably know her grandfather, which is Yu Tong's father, which is Yu Tong grandfather. Probably is called a person called Dato Ang, which very active in lion dance. I also do not know what is the relationship between Dato Ang and also my family members, my family including my mother of my father's side. I do not know whether they are communists or what. I'll talk about my family later on. So for sure, Teh He Sien is not a problem because Teh He Sien is not my daughter. Teh Yu Tong started is a problem because I do not know Teh Yu Tong's mother, how she got my daughter, whether she raped me or took my sperm to inseminate into her womb or what, I do not know. But this Dato Ang probably also related to Ricky Go or what, I do not know. Probably they know each other. Now Ricky Go is also another of my classmate. Uh, I'm very close with. I've been to his house many times, but of course it's a decoy house. It's not his real house. Also a very wealthy, from a very wealthy background. So that is Teh Yu Tong, uh, and then Joshua's sister. I totally no idea. I was told that Joshua's sister have my children's. Again, it's a mystery. They could probably rap me. Now Joshua rapped me before. So that is the problem. That is the kind of problem that I'm facing. Not only women, men also that rape me, they sodomize me. I saw now before I came back from before COVID. That's before 2020. Actually, it's in 2020 around January of 2020. I was in Hong Kong. I was in Hong Kong. I was being knocked down unconscious, and I was being sodomized by Mark Kok Seng and also Joshua Carnison. I think Joshua, I'm not sure whether Joshua raped me or not that time, but Joshua did rape me much later on in Malaysia. So in Hong Kong, Mark Kok Seng, James Ma, Mark Kok Seng raped me. I do not know for what reason. I do not know how he know my whereabouts because I rented a small place in somewhere in the Causeway in Hong Kong. Very secluded place. I do not know how he get to know my locations. Probably also Ng Beng Kiat sold me out or what, because Ng Beng Kiat know my locations. So that was 2020, somewhere January or February, and that was men. The case of men Joshua and Mark Ok Seng. And there's another guy, I do not know what's her name. Probably is a, I don't know whether it's a lady boy, a transgender, or is an intersex. Also from St. John's, my classmate. I can't remember his name. Now the point here is that I do not find myself attractive to all these people. I do not know how I get attracted to them. Probably due to financial gain or what they expected from me. So that is my Teh He Sien, Teh Yu Tong, and my little ancestor. My little ancestor, there are a few categories. As for Carol Talks, I have also no idea who is Carol Talk. I believe I found her in Facebook. That was a long time ago. That was a few years ago. I found her in Facebook, and I never met her before. So that's why I really do not know how she got my babies if I never met her before. So I suspect whether this little ancestor is indeed mine or not. I do not know. I need to carry out a DNA test. Now, it is very important to carry out DNA test because if I know the person, if I ever dating her before, then it is my responsibility if I have sex with her, both party voluntarily, then that will be my responsibility to take care of the children, regardless whether still have any feeling toward each other or not. Because at the point of having sex, uh, both parties have to be responsible for the children's. But in my case, I do not know her at all. I do not know Carol Talk, never met her. I believe I found her in Facebook, and then I asked her out because I'm interested to know her. I asked her out. I was waited in KLCC, I believe, and she never appeared. So I was waited for a few hours and then I gone. So thereafter, I do not keep in touch with her. I do not have a phone number. I do not keep in touch with her. So I thought it's a gone case. Now the problem here is that during that time I was still with I think I was still very active still very active befriend with this Teh Kian Bun. Now, I do not know Teh Kian Bun real identity. Teh Kian Bun always play a role as my brother, as my elder brother. But I even call him Koko, which is a brother in Chinese. But I did not know he is not my real brother. Not only he is not my real brother, and he got his own family, which is another siblings. He got sisters and others siblings, which is a huge question to me because I grew up with him, Teh Kian Bun. Throughout my life, I did not know he got sister. But his sister is from Sabah, so that is a very strange thing. He got his own biological siblings, but his sibling was living in Sabah all the time. Because I grew up since small with him, I have no idea he got others family. He got his real parents somewhere in Sabah, so he is a Sabahan. Whether Sabahan or not, I do not know. But he got a different identity, and he got his own biological siblings that I do not know of. Now I know his sisters, which called Xiu Ling, through another job. I used to work in a UE3, in a Jeras UE3, and I get to know this person Xiu Ling, and Xiu Ling actually very resembling Teh Kian Bun. So now I can relate Teh Kian Bun and Xiu Ling. So it's very strange. So I'm in a very strange situations where all my siblings and parents that I know, they are all fake. Beng Kiat is not my real mother, and Teh Ka Seng is not my real father, and Teh Kian Bun also not my real brother. And of course, they are not my real they are not my real family, and I was not being treated well. It was a painful experience grow up with them. So many fighting, so many bad experience. I was being cheated since small. Seems like they got some sort of tuitions. Now it come back to my parents. My father's family came from a very prominent communist party, CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and could play a very pivotal role in the communist movement around this region, particularly Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and China. And of course, they involved in Malaysia and Singapore. Very active in Singapore, probably related to OCBC, Overseas Chinese Corporations Bank, that is founded by Tan Kah Kee. Tan Kah Kee, and then the protege is Lee Kok Chiang, which also two very prominent public figure in Singapore, very influential. And also, I discovered that these people, these individuals, they are not only rich, very wealthy, but they are also very powerful in the sense that they can break law without the encumbrances of law. They are not liable for any laws that they broke, including killing people, including homicide and all that, a serious offense for commoner. But for them, they can literally get away. I saw myself how people are being killed, people were being killed, and innocent people being killed, and they're still room free. So this is sort of things that I experienced myself, and throughout my life, I was being attacked many times by uh, what I believe related to my both my father and mother side of the family. Probably because of inheritance rivalry or what, I do not know. I do not even know I'm rich. I do not even know my mother from Genting and my father probably from OCBC. I do not know. So definitely I'm never in the pictures fighting for inheritance with them. And as for even until now, I disown my father's side of the family. That means I am losing my right to for inheritance, in from my father's side of the family, which I do not want to relate to them because of their political ideology, especially communist. Now, I also want to state here very clear that I have no problem with the China government. The China government right now and what they have been practiced in the past during Mao Zedong time are very different political system, and also the way they run is different. During Mao Zedong time, there is a great leap, there is a cultural revolutions, and all this cost life, millions of casualties, more than I think more than 42 millions of casualties during that very short time. And of course, we all know the Khmer Rouge cost more than 2 million life, two-thirds of the Cambodia populations gone just because of communists. There are so many things that I do not want to elaborate here, but I believe my father's side of the family contribute to all these casualties, to, to all these casualties. So it is not a small minor business malpractices. Now I'm okay with small business malpractices because I believe nobody is perfect. In fact, in a democratic system, in democracy, we believe nobody is perfect. It is okay to embrace imperfections, but we learn from our mistake and we improve. That is the difference between democracy and communism. But to the extent, if a corporation or an individual commit serious crime, heavy crime, too much crime, too frequently, and in a major way that cause life or cause somebody to disable, no permanent loss of organs or body parts, that is constitute a very heavy crime, and of course a suffering both physically and mentally to the people. That is a serious crime that I believe we should not forgive them, because a small minor crime, I believe, in the huge corporations, Sometimes they might have some minor things that is still okay, but major causing life and major financial scam causing billions or even millions of dollars, that that kind of that kind of crime, I believe no country should spare them. But whatever it is, I'm not a law enforcer. I do not have the duty or the prestations to pursue all this crime. Uh, to me, they are still my family, whatever it is, whether whether inheritance or not, does not matter. As for my father's side, I have disowned them. I hope they do not disturb me. I do not want to have anything related to them at all. And I hope they can repent or whatever it is. I hope they do not penetrate into the democratic sphere. I will call it a Western sphere, because if that is broke, if the integrity is broke, it is very difficult. It is very difficult to reverse. Uh, you know, a lot of people say democracy might not be the solutions, but I would say democracy or a republic system is still the best. Is still the most relevant. Still the best system, political system to the Western country. Of course, I'm not saying that all the countries must embraces democracy, republic, and all that. I'm talking about the Western sphere. Those in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific, as well as the America, the North America. So I'm not imposing democracy to the world. I know some countries they feel they do not, probably they are not so keen into democracy. That is okay. The thing is that I hope those not democratic countries, especially communist country, do not penetrate into the Western sphere, um, that affect people's life. That what we can see in the history, causing so many life, so many casualties, so many life, and of course the suffering. Now back to myself. Back to myself. So Carrot Talks, I really have no idea who is Carrot Talk. The children's wise, the sons, I really have no idea whether the son is mine or not. But I do have a very friendly relationship with the son. I call him Little Ancestor. And then there's another Little Ancestor resembling Carrot Talk's son, which is from Tekka Singh's side. Now Tekka Singh play a role as my father, but he's not my biological father. Whatever it is, he always pretend to be very poor, very rundown, live in a very rundown state. But I believe he is also somebody that is very wealthy, very powerful, very influential in Singapore and probably in this region, but pretend to be another person. Because I ever saw him castrate uh, an old Singaporean man somewhere in North Bedok, and he's now still get away with the crime. So I really do not know. And not only castrate, after castrate, he threw the penis into a frying pan, uh, throw the penis into a deep fryer, and fried the penis. So something is very wrong if that scale of crime can be committed in Singapore and yet still can roam free. There is a huge question mark on Singapore law integrity, and that's why when I approached Singapore embassy for political asylum, I also worry if I were being sent to Singapore for a long time. My plan is never to stay in Singapore for long, because I know my father's side of the family in Singapore is very influential. They are communists. They are very closely related to communists, and they also know that I'm not very communist. I do not get along with them. And in fact, I already disown them. I already disown them openly. So that will be a threat to me myself. I'm not saying Singapore government is communist. The Singapore government is definitely not communist. And the good thing about Singapore is that most Singapore, most Singaporean regard themselves as a Singaporean. Unlike Malaysians, Malaysian Chinese ethnic, they regard themselves as a Chinese, but that's not related to the China Chinese. Uh, Malaysian Chinese, Malaysian Indian, Malaysian non-Malay ethnic. Malaysia consists of a few major ethnic, uh, few ethnicity, few ethnic Chinese, Indian, Malay, orang Asal and all that. But most Malaysian do not regard themselves as Malaysians. Even the Malay regard themselves as Malay instead of Malaysian. But Singaporean is very unique. They do not regard themselves as Chinese, Indian, Malay. They regard themselves as Singaporean. So in that sense, I can say that they might not be related to the communists in China. Probably since they have a very strong identity, they have a very strong Singaporean identity and nationalism. I believe they are not those most. I would say most Singaporean, if not all, they are Singaporean. They are republic. They are republic. They live in a republic political system. Now, I do not want to talk about Singapore politics because when I work in Singapore also, we seldom talk politics. That is how Singapore works. Singapore do not like people to talk politics. So that is how the way they progress and the way they can progress. Because too much politics create instability for the tiny nations, and that will be not favorable for them in terms of economy development. They need political stability in order for them to move ahead. And I can totally understand and totally uh, surely will go along with that. Singapore, no doubt, is a good country. Despite probably for myself, I experienced some attack, a lot of inconveniences, but I will still say Singapore as one of the best in the region because of many reasons. Now, for myself, I understand the situations. Those people, they not only commit crime in Singapore, they commit crime in everywhere. Even in Malaysia, I was being attacked. I will only react to attack when people attack me first. So that is my stand. I will never initiate any attack myself because I always need to. I always on the defensive side. Only I'm being attacked, then I will react to the attack. If you do not attack me, I will definitely will not initiate any attack. Even you insult me, in my heart, in my mind, is is firing, feeling the rage. But I would not attack people because I know if I initiate attack, that is my fault. But if somebody attack me first, I have the right under the law to protect myself to the extent that I can stop the person from attacking me. That is the law. That is Malaysia Penal Code. I have the right to defend myself, but to the extent of defense, not attack, not assault. So that is me, and I abide by the law because I notice if I do not uh, I notice if I do not do anything, I will be succumb to more attack. So that is the thing. And not only now, not only the Chinese, which probably predominantly from the Resort World Genting side, they also have Indian. I do not know whether it's related to Joshua or not. They come to attack me and to they might even infiltrate into government agency and sabotage my life. Now the thing here is that I would the first is that whatever inheritance inherited to me is my rightful inheritance. That's one thing. Whether I share to anybody or to have friendship or relationship to anybody is up to me myself. You cannot unilaterally force me to marry someone or to have children with someone that I do not know or I do not prefer. It is under Malaysian law that a marriage have to be mutually agreed voluntarily and mutually agreed. Now if I do not know a person, I cannot definitely cannot marry the person, and they shall have no le- and they shall have no legal effect whatsoever upon us, because I first of all I do not know them. Definitely would not voluntarily accept them, for whatever reason. Now about uh, my inheritance, whether I'm rich or not, I believe even I'm poor. In this case, I see I myself to want to disown my father. That means I lose half of my rightful inheritance. For example, if I got say for example, if I got 1 billion from my mother, 1 billion from my father, and now I proactively disown my father, that means I lost half of my what supposedly my inheritance from my father's side. I noticed my father's side also quite rich, but they are communists. So I actually normally Malaysians will close one eye, but for me I would not. I will rather lose my potential wealth from my father's side rather than accepting. So if you know me personally, you will know definitely under the United Nations Universal Human Rights Declarations, the human right is afforded to everybody, disregard their wealth status, disregard his a noble class or a professional or engineers or just a commoner or just a janitor, someone sweep on the road, no, road sweeper or whatever. That everybody have a same human right. Now that is United Nations Universal Human Rights Declarations. If you look at Malaysia Federation, Malaysia Constitution, Malaysia Federal Constitution, and Malaysia law, it also state the same thing. Malaysia law, despite they are not as comprehensive as the United Nations Universal Human Rights Declarations, but Malaysia Constitution, the Federal Constitution, also provides some civil liberty and protections for human rights, which also include what I mentioned. Especially when it comes to marriage, there is also marriage law. Both parties have to voluntarily and mutually agree in order to enter into the marriage. You cannot force me to accept somebody that I do not know. So that is also actually covered in Malaysia law. I have been very explicit about this, and I even encounter people ask me to sign blindly. That is very common in Malaysia. I experienced so many things. Actually, if you ask me personally, I just want to be an ordinary man. I am not a Superman. I'm not a saint or what. I just want to be an ordinary man. I just want, like anybody else, get a wife, uh, get a job, or open some business, do some business, and live my life. A normal middle class, I'm happy. If I'm rich, I'm happy. I do not need to be super rich. I'm not interested to fight inheritance. For sure, my father's side, I really lost my potential inheritance from my father's side. From my mother's side, I do not know. It has been so many years. For 17 years, my grandfather passed away, and 7 years, my grandmother passed away. They did not give me any money, and they did not put it into the IGUMIS, which is the unclaimed money under the Malaysia Act. And I believe Malaysians, especially big fella, big tycoon, they never care about laws. So I myself forget about it. Like, actually, to me, myself, actually, I do not want to live in Malaysia because of the situation I have right now. I hope I can migrate out to get a political asylum, or which I'm uh, experience persecutions. I'm not anybody who just uh, fun for nothing want to migrate out or to escape to another country. I'm being persecuted, and that's right. I have no choice. I really cannot live in this country. Then, only I'm now seeking for political asylum, and hope I go to a country. Now I'm not very highly educated, but I'm somehow educated. I believe myself can get a job, gather money, and live my life. And if possible, I got some startup capital. I'll do some business for survival. I do not want to depend on anybody. I also do not want to fight with anybody. I'm not into definitely not into gambling business. If even if I got a portions or get back my inheritance, I definitely would not consider to be in the casino business. I don't know how to gamble, how to operate a casino. So for sure that is a huge problem for me. And in fact I am not keen to fight. So I'm not keen to really fight with them. My situation actually, I just hope to have my own business and live my life, find the girls that are really in love with me. Now the reason why I'm looking uh, to live in the Europe or to live in those developed country, I would say to the developed country or democratic country, the real democratic country, is that I believe most of people there, they might not be super rich, middle class. They are not crazy for money. They do not look they look for partner, but not because of their money, not solely because of money. I'm not saying that in US, in the United States of America, in UK, people will not look for money or there's no gold digger. Of course, there are so many gold digger. Gold digger means those girls that only look for money, look for men that can afford them their lifestyle. I'm not saying that, but what I'm trying to say is that to get a decent girls of my own choice, they can that will accept me as I am, not accept me because of my inheritance. Of course, I will work, I will do business, I will earn my money, and I will contribute to my family, to build up my family and contribute my family. And that is how just a normal human being, a normal family would do. I'm not looking for any extraordinary thing. In fact, what I'm advocating about democracy and all that, that is that is a basic, that is a fundamental thing that having in most of the developed countries. Everywhere you go, if you go to Europe, any countries, any developed country at all these basic rights are there. It is not something that is extraordinary. I'm not fighting for LGBT. I'm not fighting for those considered more advanced human right. Now, LGBT is a very subjective thing. I'm not fighting for that. I'm not advocating for the LGBT right or the same-sex marriage or whatever. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just advocating for equality where everybody should be treated equally. Disregard race, disregard religion, belief, which is what happened in Malaysia. The NEP, the new economic policy, is persecuting. It systematically marginalize the minority. That's what I'm talking about. And it is unconstitutional because it is contradict to the constitutions. So that is what I basically what I have voiced out, and as a result, my life is being persecuted. So I think that's about it for today. Uh, I even until now I do not know my father. I never met him before. Even if I meet him, I believe I cannot recognize him. I only so far I can only recognize my biological mother, and that is also I think around 2020 22. Only 2 years, less than 2 years. I know my mother. She used to work in Xiaxiong. I know her before. That was I think about 5 to 6 years ago. But that was a very brief, about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, I worked in that company, and did not go well because that company I think is a setup. It's not a real company. It's a setup. So I worked there for a month. Of course, it's a construction company. I go to the construction site, and I seldom see Esther Lim, which is my mother. So very little interactions, and she don't talk at all. We don't have communication at all. So even my mother, I find it to me, it's very raw in the sense that I do not familiar with my mother. I do not know her well. Of course, I hope to have a more amicable and more friendly relationship with my mother. And I think the closest family I have right now is my niece, Teh He Xian. Teh He Xian is the closest family I have with me right now. She's the closest family, and uh, these few months, actually, these few years, particularly these few months, I get to know my cousin. I get to know my uncles. All of them are very influential. But I just actually I just want to be I just want to live a normal life. Uh, Not really into that very high profile, high flying, those high class life. It's not that I do not want to be high class. I like anybody else. I also want to live a good life. Definitely, I hope I can live a good life, but do not need to be super rich or do not need to be, those rank in the Forbes or rank in the top top country or whatever. I do not need to. As long as I got money to do my things, just a normal businessman life as anybody, average, average normal businessman life. That's what I'm looking for. Uh, so I hope those cousins please do not attack me. I hope they can stop attacking me because I'm definitely not their rival. I'm definitely not the enemy fighting for inheritance. And I do not I do not put up shows for my father or grandfather to watch. Uh, I noticed that in a very wealthy family, those grandchildren always put up shows to their grandparents or to their parents in order to show they are capable or their caliber or whatever. I'm not interested to fight for inheritance, and I do not want to put up shows. Uh, what I'm advocating is more on the social work. I believe I have not demonstrated my business skill yet. So, in terms of business, in terms of money generating, uh, I have never shows anything to them. Never demonstrate my prowess, I would say. So I'm also not interested to show it to them. I just hope to have some startup capital, get out of Malaysia, and I live my life. So that's what I want. Uh, and I believe they owe me because for so many years, they have never contributed anything financially. I was struggling uh, all the way from primary school to my college. One of the enroll into one of the poorest college. So all this, and unlike middle class or wealthy family, of course, they send their children overseas to UK, US for study. For me, I'm not so lucky. I do not know where is my parent. But now I get to know my mother. She's very quiet. She don't talk to me, so never reply my message. So that is a kind of huge predicament for me. And that's all for today. Thank you.